Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 480 at scavengerlife.com.
We suddenly now have 4 cats in our house, who I guess they live here.
They very much live here.
Is that correct?
Okay. Look, we had 3 cats forever, so it's not that much of a difference. One died, so we had 2 cats for a year.
We talked about you then you rescued a forest cat, like just a kind of a stray
who lived across the street in the
feral
forest.
Cat, and then suddenly a 4th cat just appeared on our back porch.
And he's like the sweetest little dude.
Yeah.
Actually, he's the biggest cat we own now.
He's an old cat.
We call him Old Boy.
So now we have 4 cats, and so it's almost like we are those people that are.
Oh God.
We're like a cat shelter.
Well, at first we thought the old cat was a girl, and we thought she was pregnant, and we were like, "Oh my God!" And we brought her to the vet, and I was like, "Just tell me, how is she?" And they're like, "Well, he is a neutered male who's about 10-ish years old." Yeah. I was like, oh, "Okay."
Yeah, but he was in rough shape. He's like, he's like covered in scabs and like.
He had bugs all over him, but he got, flea treatment and stuff. Yeah. He had ear mites.
So, but...
definitely living outside.
I will... And we have a cat door, so I will no longer open the door for these cats. Like the back door.
We have to teach them the door.
And they just have to learn to go in and out of our cat door. And that's it. So, those people.
We're in a cat circus.
Yep. So Ryan, one thing this week or the past couple weeks I've noticed that you've noticed of me is that I will just like sigh, right? Mm-hmm. I will like this. We'll be like driving in the car. And
this happened yesterday,
and I don't even recognize that I'm doing it, but I'll go like this. I'll go.
And I'm like, that is the sound of Jay being stressed out.
And I don't even...
unconsciously thinking of something. Like, the other thing, too, is... And I do this all the time, but, like, when you do it, I'm like, oh, we know something's wrong. Okay. No. Not the sighing, but...
Sure.
I'll be, like, talking to you, and I'll be like, hey, guess what? I'm about to make you homemade mint chocolate chip ice cream, which is, like, Jay's favorite thing. Homemade from scratch with the best ingredients. And you literally do not hear a word of it. Like, you're staring at your computer writing something, and I'm like, wow, something's up. If you didn't hear that.
So let's break this down. So there's a couple things. So there's doubt, right? Like, we all have doubt.
Yes.
You're like, I wonder if this is going to work. I don't know.
Am I doing this wrong?
It's like doubt.
Yeah.
What I sometimes deal with is like opening the trap door, and let's go deeper than that.
It's deeper
Sometimes
than doubt.
I deal with like self-hate, like,
oh yeah,
like for real, where I just beat myself up over things that I say or do or did. I will sometimes when I make that noise where I go like this, I will beat myself over things I said or did when I was like 10 years old.
Oh my God.
I will have like a memory in my head, and I'll just be like,
it's so normal.
And that's crazy to me. And I'm just...
So is that what you were doing yesterday? Or is that just like in general?
In general.
Yeah. I think that's normal.
Yeah. And oftentimes it comes up when we are doing a lot of things. So there's, a lot of other things going on.
I think a lot of... So I totally do that too. I think everybody does that. I think some people are more affected by it. I think there are, where like it goes in circles and you can't get rid of it. And you're like, okay, well, this is ridiculous. And it's 25 years old memory that the other person probably does not remember at all.
Yep.
Or I think stress can trigger that stuff too. When you have a lot, like we have a lot going on right now. All amazing, great, can't wait till these things are, happening even more type stuff. But it's a lot to juggle. I feel like we say that like every 6 months. We're like, and then there's this other thing. That
and, and like when I feel like it's one of those things where when I'm a bit under stressed, when I'm under stress.
Under stress, yeah.
And there is an opening for a little bit of doubt to come in.
Sure.
It's just, there is all this stuff waiting in the wings that likes that opening and wants to get in there and just open it up. And, and you know, look, it's fine. This is nothing, you know, this is nothing like unnormal for me.
Yeah.
Like, this is something I've dealt with my entire life, and I know it's common among other people too. And I guess the story of each of our lives is how we deal with that. I mean, that's one reason why I always say like one of the best things to do if you're trying to run an eBay store is get a therapist, because it's going to bring out all these things, because, you know, I can't rely on a boss or a job or a system at a job to, like, you know, give me a structure to live. You're running your own business.
Well, that's true with any independent business. I mean, not just eBay, but like all our businesses are like without a safety net, to be honest.
And that it brings up all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think about like this podcast.
Yeah.
We do this every week. We're like real proud of that, just because we like consistency. I think that's like one of our strengths.
And clearly it's therapy for us.
It's just like consistency.
Group therapy here.
Like something we've talked about, like, we may not be the smartest people, the richest.
Speak for yourself.
I think one thing we can say is that we have like stick-to-itiveness.
Yes.
You know,
oh my God.
We are
committed.
But I also think like, wow, what if what we're doing is documenting our own failure? You know,
wow,
like,
Jesus, what kind of week did you have that I didn't notice? I had a great week. God,
I had a great week too. I'm just saying that those are moments I have where I'm just like, wow, what if like, this is like,
people are gonna be like, and then guess what happened to them?
And then like 1 week we're just like, oh yeah, none of everything we were working on, it didn't work. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just back up like 10 years. I mean, what the hell?
Hey,
I'm getting sidelined here.
This is an open, safe place, right? To talk about anything
in public. So we've finished a lot of projects that are businesses that make us money.
Sure.
So
yeah, look,
check mark.
Okay, stop. I'm not looking for like arguments why it's not going to be a failure. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
These are thoughts that happen, and then I have to deal with that, you know. And then, of course, my next thought is, exactly what you said. Like, this is crazy.
Right.
You know, let's just take this a day at a time. You know, like that's all we can ever do is just like work with what's in front of us.
Yeah.
Question. Make sure we're questioning, like, is this crazy? Does this money work? Do these numbers work? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, but it's just reality, and I'm just bringing it up as I don't know if someone is hearing this thinking about starting an eBay business. I mean, I don't know. I see it on the forums. We see it in our phone calls. People get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And that to me, when people just, you know, have a sense of overwhelm, I just, if I break it down, that's what it starts to become, is just like, you know, it's more than doubt. It's actual like a crab pulling me back in the bucket kind of thing. And and I deal with it. You know?
I mean, it's not just It's not just like surface stuff. Right. It's like stuff that everybody deals with like life stuff,
deep stuff. And before we go into our numbers and eBay specific
what
stuff,
did we sell this week?
I mean, the good thing is we deal with it. I deal with it. I think you deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about it, and it's just one of those things. And I think I can't imagine a person that doesn't ever experience that.
Sure. It just comes in waves.
And I guess it's all how we deal with it.
Yeah.
You know? Like that.
Well, and how do you move on from it and like do the things that make sense to you?
Right.
And make your life livable. Right. Like,
exactly. You know, and not just
be like, look, we must have talked about this on the podcast. I think it was in like June or May. It was in May when I was just like, why are we doing any of this? This is like the most stressful businesses, you know, like let's just sell everything and like just, right? I mean, talk about doubt. I was like, burn it all down, done.
This is
cash
a
out.
joke. This is an actual conversation we had.
Yeah.
Where you and I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I mean, because
you're like, because we can.
Anytime we talk, everything's on the table. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
so I definitely can relate to what you're talking about to a very specific degree.
Yep.
But that conversation obviously made me feel better.
Yep. And that's why everything should be allowed to be talked about.
Sure.
So, Ryan, before we talk about eBay, how about something else? Coffee roasting.
Yes. Let's get some lighter fare here.
No, I mean, I think that's totally like, I love that. See, like that.
Oh, yeah. That's reality.
Anyway, so let's talk about coffee roasting. So you and Phil, our partner in crime here, are now roasting coffee.
On the regular.
You guys you can roast up to 25 pounds at one time.
Right.
Right now you're still doing what, 10 15
pounds, yeah.
10 pounds.
10-pound batches. Because that's where our recipe's at.
And you guys are slowly...
Not slowly.
Not even slowly, but you guys are starting to do it a couple times a week.
So last week, we roasted on Wednesday and Thursday. And then Thursday, I think we roasted like almost 50 pounds, which... For our operation, like, that's a lot of coffee. And then Phil was like, you know what, I'm just going to come on Saturday and, like, bust out some poundage.
Yeah.
And so we dropped by there yesterday in between doing other things, and he was roasting away. So it's sort of like, here we are. Like, we're getting it.
And the cool thing is, we've done the numbers, Phil. I mean, we have the capacity.
Yes, to
roast. I mean, it seems crazy, but I mean, it is crazy to say it out loud, but there is a logical way to roast 100,000 pounds a year if we were to use a roaster to its full.
We absolutely can do that.
Yeah.
If we sell that much coffee, which we want to.
Right. And, it kind of, to me, we kind of approach this like our eBay business when, we were selling, like a lot of people who start $300 a month. We were selling like 20 things.
I think we sold enough to buy a Vitamix in like 2 months.
And then we were like, I mean, if we can sell 20 things, why can't we sell
100 things?
Yeah.
I mean, if we can sell, look, we were like, if our bills are low enough, which they were, can we cover our bills?
Right.
Just straight up.
But not only that, I just mean like physically, like, can we find enough stuff?
Gotcha.
Can we store this stuff? How do we make a process to even put enough stuff online to be bought? And it's the same way I think we're starting to think about this. A roasting company is like, okay, we built the capacity. We have the tools. We have the building. We have the people like you and Phil that know how to actually do it.
Press play.
And now we need to actually,
And we are. And the cool thing is, yes, exactly. So, we just got all our inspections done. We passed all our inspections. And
the inspection, it was with the state ag,
with the state Virginia Department of Agriculture. They liked our building. They were like, go for it. So that was on Wednesday.
Cool.
Right. So we can just like totally go for it.
So we're like a real live business.
Yeah.
With taxes and everything else.
All that fun stuff.
Cool.
So it's exciting.
It is exciting. And
we started laying out the actual building, like, where is receiving, in quotes. It's like 800 square feet, but you're like, this goes here. These are labeled this way. This is where we put our desk and our tasting station. And,
And, I will say we bought this roaster off of eBay in November 2019.
I think it was October.
2019.
Right.
On a wing and a prayer.
Whatever
that means.
A hope and a prayer.
With the naivety.
Yes.
Like we often go into things. Like educated naivety.
Look, if this roaster... Yeah, okay.
And then we bought the building in February.
Also very naive.
Because we had to be like, this place,
where are we going to put this?
We were looking to rent places.
Yeah.
And we were like, we don't want to pay somebody rent for this building to put this thing in. And if it doesn't work, then we've lost the money we put into the building. So we bought the building in February. We finished the building in July.
Yeah. Well, the pandemic hit and we shut down for about a month.
Yeah. But the building finally got finished in July. We installed the roaster in August.
July and August.
Actually brought it in and had
plugged it in,
figure out how to convert it from natural gas to propane and
get 220 over there.
God, that was how does this work? And then you guys now in September, I really thought it was going to take a long time to figure out how to operate this machine, but I'm so excited that you, and especially Phil, just jumped on.
Phil knows his stuff.
It's got like a little computer.
Yep.
I mean, he's never been trained on this thing, and he just started not fooling around, but he started to do what he thought made sense, and he's doing it. And
he's roasting coffee that is totally drinkable.
So I am we're over the moon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
So where's the doubt come in? Like, we've been doing so well.
Right. I mean, that's the crazy thing.
It's just normal.
Like, it's all about what I choose to focus on.
Yeah.
And that's why I always try and focus on what's actually happening. And if there's problems, focus on solving those problems. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The doubt just comes in of just like, what do I know about any of this stuff? Right. Like, we're putting a lot of money into this. Like, what if we can't sell more than what we're selling now? Like, what's the, I don't know.
Speaking of which, go to broadporch.coffee and order some coffee.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, that coffee is roasted by Phil and I.
Yeah.
So you are tasting my recipes with Phil. Well, okay. My recipes meaning I followed what Phil was doing and was like, this tastes good. Yeah. I am a Q grader. I know it tastes good.
Exactly. You will. So
that's my contribution.
So anyway, okay, let's talk about, is this podcast about eBay?
What the hell is this podcast about?
Maybe it is. Let's talk about our eBay business, which was a thing that we built all of this on top of.
Yep.
Without selling, I mean, I just want to be clear, without selling on eBay.
Yeah, none of this is possible.
None of this would be possible.
We're going on and on about all this other stuff, and eBay made it possible.
It's true. eBay or just selling online, but specifically for us as eBay, is just like, this is what pays all of our monthly bills.
Yeah.
Gives us our time to then work on these other things that we find fun. Okay.
Fun.
We talked about eBay pushed out this new feature called Time Away. I don't even know it's actually live yet, but, and which I think is great. So Time Away, you can tell it, I'm going to go away for a week, and eBay's new thing, it's great, will just automatically change your handling time to when you come back. And then it dynamically changes as that week goes along. Yeah. So it goes from, you're not going to receive this for 7 days, now 6 days, now 5 days, which is great.
It's great.
Because before we would have to manually change our handling time and go in every couple of days while we were away to try and change it. So it's great. Yeah. One niggling issue we had was that they had a maximum of 15 calendar days.
Right.
Whereas in the handling time, you can actually change to 30 business days,
which is 45 days.
And that's great for us. So it's niggling, not a big deal. I think this current Time Away is actually great. I mean, it's probably good for like 90%
most people
of people that go away. That was just a decision people made at eBay, and I hope that they reconsider just to let a buyer, because as long as you tell the buyer how long it's going to be, it should be.
And if they're not okay with it, just refund them.
Yeah,
that's what we would do.
So
it would be 10% of people would want a refund, which is fine.
I don't want to, in case all the eBay people hearing this, all the eBay employees who follow us, I don't want to crush anyone's good work. I just want to say, it's still good. Follow up, that item that I bought by accident.
Yeah.
I thought it was an offer to buy something.
To sell something.
It was an offer
to buy something.
And because I don't have glasses on my phone, I accepted it. And it's weird. So it's interesting, though, where I get to see what it's like on the other side.
Yeah. It's just in our cart.
After the first couple of days, they were like, you need to buy this or pay for it. And then it just stopped. It's been 2 weeks now. It's just sitting in our cart. eBay's not sending me a message.
It doesn't seem like an unpaid item case got opened.
I'm getting no
seller.
Notification.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, and we sent a message to the buyer. Seller. I'm the buyer.
Yeah.
And the seller just didn't respond. So this item is not in their store, so they can't resell it. I'm not going to buy it.
Unless they relisted it and just didn't end this thing.
So I don't know. It's interesting. There's no way for me to cancel it. I could pay for it, then immediately cancel it. But that seems weird.
But they could say, no, I can't cancel it because I already shipped it. Which is like an option, which is nuts.
Right.
Because you're like, what do you mean you already shipped it? It's been 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then you have to open a return case.
And then you can return it. Yeah.
It's messy.
It's interesting. So I don't know.
We're going to get an unpaid item case, but eventually, I guess?
I guess it...
Or does it just close?
It should be soon, but I don't know. We'll see.
Who knows?
This is the continuing adventure of Jay screwing up. So we had another day this week.
Yes.
With no sales. So this is...
It's weird.
The third day with no sales in the past 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened all year long. So this is...
By the end of the day, I'm like, busy doing stuff. Jay, did we even sell a single thing today?
Yeah.
I packed all the stuff from yesterday, but...
I mean, we're about to do our numbers here. It wasn't a bad week. It was just strange where the sales were coming in like...
It's like peaks and valleys.
Clumps.
Yeah. And then I'd wake up to 8 sales. And I'm like, what?
It was very
so weird.
Clumpy.
Yeah.
Okay, we sold 41 items, which strangely is the exact amount of items we sold a week ago.
Weird.
Which... I always think about that. That's a lot of items to me, 41.
It's a lot to me because I got to pack them all.
Yeah.
And some of them are 30-inch tall lamps.
Which we're glad to sell.
Just fine.
And we grossed $1,449.31.
Not including shipping.
Not including the shipping cost. Because if I include the shipping cost...
It's how much?
It's like $2,000. So it makes it sound like real hot stuff.
Yeah, but I got to pay for all that shipping.
Yeah.
A lot of it's... Global shipping stuff sold.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I will do those numbers. I will do August versus September.
How many you think sold this week? 3.
5.
5?
Dude,
okay.
I'm serious.
So
global shipping.
So before, when you were just doing the eBay send...
It was probably more than that.
10. 3.
8.
Okay. 8 versus 5 isn't bad.
But I hear you.
Like 10 versus 1...
I really don't like eBay send. Look, it takes a month and a half for stuff to get to Europe. Right. That's insane.
And we already have...
I mean, I know it's a pandemic.
We have one of those cases that got opened today for some, what was it, little hat pins or something?
It wasn't open today. It was open a month ago. It's these, vintage letter openers that are going to Taiwan.
Right.
And he's like, they're not here. And I'm like, that sucks.
And that was eBay send, right?
That's eBay send.
And the shipping just
DHL
stopped.
Just ended. I'm like, DHL.
Yeah. See, it's strange too because I thought DHL was like FedEx, where it was super scanned at every point.
Here's the deal with DHL: they're using a service called DHL e-commerce, where they're shipping it the slowest.
Oh, okay.
It's not like FedEx. Yeah. It's the cheapest, slowest e-commerce, whatever. But still, you're like, it's a private company.
Yeah.
Why is it stuck in Germany right now? Is it the pandemic? I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that.
DHL, are you listening?
So anyway, it was, look, this seems fine.
Yeah.
It's all fine.
It's great.
Things we sold, it was just so random. It's just
it's so random. It's T-shirts.
To me, it's like the beauty.
Slippers.
It's the beauty of our hodgepodge business. Just clothes, shoes, belts, suspenders.
Teacup.
Artwork. Lamps. coasters.
What's our highest? Coasters, yeah, those coasters.
So our highest was that lamp that you just complained about. It was $145.
Great sale.
A vintage brass lamp.
I couldn't love a sale more than that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
And it was real brass, right?
It was solid brass, shiny brass. It was vintage. Very cool lamp, actually.
Yeah.
28 inches tall. Did not want to ship this thing. 10 inches wide. I actually found the perfect box. Thank God. It's like, oh, thank God.
Good.
Wrapped it, bubble wrapped the hell out of it. It is brass, so it's probably okay, but you don't want that thing banging around. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was good.
Love a sale like that.
Yep. Scavenger of the week, we didn't really...
We just look, talk about death piles. I got boxes and boxes from auctions, which is great. Our helper's doing great.
Yeah.
His photos are great.
I want him to be faster.
He's getting faster.
Okay.
I need to, yeah.
So we don't, we have not, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but I feel like we don't want to put like undue stress on him while he's still a learning pup. I don't want to be like, you have to do 20 an hour,
Well,
we're
20
just
an hour. 10 an hour would be awesome.
Right. So are you have you guys talked about any of that stuff?
No, because I've been so busy that it's hard for me to see him in person sometimes.
Right. And that's kind of the nice thing.
That's the idea.
Is that he can, he knows the code to our door. He just comes in.
I leave a note for him. Hey, work on this, work on this. These need to be done individually. And he's getting there. But so this week I am going to try to connect with him in person because I need him to watch the cats one day when we actually have to go away overnight.
Yep.
And I'm like, P.S. there are 4 cats and they eat us out of house and home, so just please fill up the food. But so I just need to connect with him. I saw him yesterday because obviously, like, he's a friend. He's a son of our friend who works with us. But
he just learned to, or he not.
He just got his license. That's how young this kid is. I'm like, wow. I'm so much older than you. It's crazy. Anyway. He's doing well. Good. I think he's doing very well. His photos have greatly improved.
Good.
Like, he knows. It's funny looking at pictures from before. I sold this brass camel statue, like enamel camel thing. Enamel camel. And I didn't put anything in the photos for scale. I'm obsessed with putting something in for scale now. Every single listing must have scale. Right. Because, people are buying things and they're like, oh, I thought it was this. And you're like,
because it's not enough.
You thought that.
It's not enough to be like,
12 inches tall.
Yeah, like 12 inches tall and I get it too, because I'm just like, I don't know, how big is 12 inches?
But also, people don't read the description. So if you're like 12 inches by 8 inches.
But even if you put it in the title.
People still don't read it.
You just got to put it next to a banana.
Dude, banana, dollar bill, people put a Coke can. I have a can of coconut milk. I have a spray bottle. I bought a nicer spray bottle that doesn't have writing all over it. Right. Just so you know. It's just a plain spray bottle. Because people know what a spray bottle looks like.
Yeah.
And he has to use it clean stuff anyway.
Yeah, or...
Put stuff in for scale. I know it looks tacky, because it does. It looks tacky. But people automatically, their brains are like, oh, that's really big.
Yeah.
Oh, that fits in your hand. That's too small for what I want. Right. You don't want them to buy it and be like, this thing's only 4 inches. Yeah, no kidding. Right. I said that in the title. I have that happen all the time.
Yep. But yeah, he's doing good. And really, because we have a lot going on, we just could not actually do what we're doing. We couldn't run our business because we just don't have time anymore to take photos ourselves. And
I do take photos occasionally. Like, there's some weird items that I'm like, how do I even explain to him what this is or what I need photos of? I'll take photos of, I'll put things aside and take photos of things like that.
Right. I mean, and things that we think will really do well. Like, you pulled aside this old
padlock. It's heart-shaped padlock. I actually have 2 of them, but I have really high prices on them. Like, people sell them for $20, and I'm like, no. I want $120 for this minimum. Yeah. Because I'm like that.
Because
I'm going to wait 3 years.
Because there's a collector world of old locks.
Just don't put the word railroad lock in, because eBay gets really weird about those. Like, you have to have a very specific, like, old railroad that it was a part of. I got, like, almost zeroed on those.
Because they don't want people selling, like, keys to Amtrak locks where you're going to break
even though they're from the 1800s.
Right.
So you're like, what?
Right.
So I've seen some railroad locks listed as railroad locks, but
yeah.
I got zeroed or whatever. I don't know what it's called when they're like, watch out, you can't say this on eBay.
Okay, customer issues. We really didn't have any. We had a couple of returns initiated, and it's interesting. It was like 2 people in a row where, like, the buyers sent us a message saying, I'm going to send this back.
Yeah.
And we didn't say anything, like, fine. You know, like,
don't say
there's, like, a
anything.
hassle-free return process, just, like,
Open a return.
It's not a big deal. But then they kept sending a message like,
is it okay for me to return this?
Right. And so we had to be
I want to be like, no, don't freaking return
like, it's
it.
fine, you know, send it back. Like,
I said, I take a return. So this is the thing about scale. So someone bought these, they're basically soup spoons, you know, they're like big old spoons. And she was like, oh, I really wanted teaspoons, even though I said the measurement and I show a hand holding the spoon. So you see the scale. She still thought they were tiny.
Yeah.
And she's like, I would like to, she has zero feedback. I would like to exchange these for the teaspoon version.
These,
and
like, antique.
I'm like, cool, I don't have those.
Right.
Like, you can't exchange them because I'm not Amazon and these are from the 1930s.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to tell you, lady.
Just send it back. So it's fine.
But look, I love eBay because this is just a message on the internet. I'm like, nope, I take returns for any reason. Send, done.
Yep.
You know, I don't have to deal with someone in my face. It's great.
But that's why, you know, people complained when hassle-free returns got started. And I was one of the people that was concerned, like, oh no, this is going to be more like Amazon, where, like, we're just going to get returns out the wazoo.
And we don't.
It hasn't. And it is nice that there's a system where most of the time people just initiate a return on their own.
Yeah, send it back.
There's a system,
tracking.
you know, it's all fine.
I relist it.
It's, you know, it's not like the old days where every return took like 10 messages with people.
Yeah.
And,
it is kind of nice. It's not as bad as we thought, like you said.
Right.
It is a pain sometimes when someone's like, I didn't like the color. Return. And you're like, oh. Yeah. But whatever. Just.
Returns obviously aren't fun because, you know,
because you have to give people's money back.
Because the money's going in the opposite direction.
You don't want that.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. Wendy asked a question. I don't know the answer to this, but I think we had talked about it once. She said, anytime I take pictures through the eBay app, all pictures have been saving to my iPhone camera roll.
I know the answer.
I think I remember you saying something about this on one of the past podcasts, but I don't remember if you found a solution. Do you know a way to stop this from happening?
Yes.
Okay.
I now know. Well, I asked her to ask it on the forum, just because it's good to look. Don't just email us questions. Number one, Jay's really good at answering questions. I don't have time. Right. Number two, someone's going to answer it better and faster on the forum. However, I do know the answer because she prompted me to look it up because I was like looking at my phone. I'm like, I have all these photos of like random things that I'm listing and it's annoying. So you go into your general settings. It's like the little gear. This is on the iPhone. I don't know anything about Android. The little gearbox and scroll down to the eBay preferences. You're like, scroll down, eBay. You have to tell it never to read or write to your photo, your camera roll. Just say, eBay, you do not have access to this, which kind of sucks because sometimes you want to upload a photo to a listing that you're like, oh, I forgot to show this. And you take a photo on your camera and then you have to change the preference. What I would love is if you could tell it to read your camera roll, but not write to it. You're like, yeah, I can upload photos from my camera roll. Just don't save to it. That's like a bit too complicated for eBay. Yeah. So you just turn off that preference.
So if you turn that off, then when you take pictures through the eBay app, it's just uploading to the eBay website and not putting it on your phone. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Some people want it on their phone because they want a backup, and that's understandable for sure.
Right. I mean, some people like my... whatever. I mean, I'm up to iPhone 7.
Yeah, you're on a 7.
So, you know, but, you know, iPhones are now up to like, I know they're into
a billion, who knows?
SE. I think I have 128 gigs on this thing.
Yeah, like there's a lot of room.
I don't know if the brand new ones, like the X's, have like a gig. I don't know how big
A gig? You're talking about, you mean a terabyte?
Yeah.
You have 128 gigs.
Sorry, terabyte.
Yeah, a terabyte's 1,000 gigs. I have no... Yeah, can you... Like, look,
That's what I meant.
My mind is blown.
Right.
A terabyte... You know how much a terabyte cost like 15 years ago? You're like, I gotta buy a terabyte. It's gonna cost like $1,000.
I don't think they even had terabyte.
They didn't. They
available.
had like a 500 gig.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the answer.
That's the answer.
And as far as like joining the forum, I know people send us questions directly just because they don't want to go through the hassle.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm sorry if it's a hassle. It's just we're really trying to keep spam from our forum. But you go over there, you join.
You get denied.
And they still have to email us, right?
Look, this is how I do it. We get so many spam requests. We get less because I put a CAPTCHA on the sign-up page, but we still get spam requests. And what's going to happen is I'm going to deny you. I updated the plugin.
Real quick, we don't personally deny.
No, I'm not even looking at any names.
Our system denies.
Yeah,
you.
it's just a bulk deny.
And then people just have to email us and be like, "Hey, I just joined. This is my
username."
And then
/
we will
email. And then I approve you.
Everybody. We got a couple people this week that were like, "Why did you
They're
deny
very
me?
offended.
Like, this isn't fair. Like, I'm a real eBay." I'm like, oh, it's not.
Look, here's the deal. The plugin got updated automatically, and it erased my custom message. My custom message on the deny page would be like, "Hey, write me an email. If you're a human, I'll approve
write
you."
it again?
Yes, I already did.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to say. People were deeply offended that they were denied because there was no message telling them to email us.
We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I have enough. I beat myself up enough. I don't need other people.
Oh my God, I can't believe we started the podcast with this conversation.
Oh, what? I mean, it's like, to me, that makes me feel good to like just talk about like real things, right?
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. So let's go to the questions or comments that people sent in this week.
You can email us an audio file. We got an email with an audio file today. The email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hey, Scavengers. I just wanted to give you my story about an accidental purchase on eBay. So we had just picked up some new equipment, and while moving them, my phone was in my front pocket, and I forgot to lock it. I got a eBay ding message from the seller asking me to pay for my purchase. I went ahead and looked at it, and my pocket had accidentally buy it now on a $12,000 Lambretta scooter. I felt really bad. I explained the situation. The seller was pretty cool about it, but it was kind of not great for both of us. All right. Thanks, guys.
So he said he accidentally bought a $12,000 scooter.
Yeah.
eBay, why is this like so common? I mean, you forgot to lock your phone in it. I feel like buy it now is like, it's got to be like 2 or 3 steps.
Yeah.
So why is it that easy?
I don't know. But, you know, it's good to hear. I don't know.
We're not the only ones.
I do not. I feel like it, as a seller, I feel it happens. It's way too common for us to experience it as a seller, where we might get 2 or 3 buyers a month who say, "Oh, I didn't mean to buy that. I just need to buy." And so it makes me be like, I don't believe you. But maybe with these, with these stories, with my own experience, maybe it is more common. I don't know.
Hi, Ryan and Jay. This is Vicki with Avante Avenue. I've been following your channel for well over 2 years and love it. And I missed you recently when you skipped a week, but good for you. You were talking about managed payments and shipping labels. I had something very strange happen this morning. First of all, I'm on 2-day handling. I had a sale come in yesterday morning. I went to work on it this morning. And eBay gave me a nice little message when I went to print the label saying, "Your pending payments are not enough to pay for this transaction." I'm like, "What? What do you mean I can't pay for this transaction?" They have made several transfers of payments out of my PayPal, out of eBay, to my personal checking, and that's fine. But why wouldn't they hold something that was just purchased in just a little over 24 hours so that I could have my shipping money taken out of my funds? I found this very strange. I tried to add an additional credit card because, as you know, as you said, they give a PayPal option. I didn't want to use PayPal. I mean, the whole point is we're not supposed to be using PayPal. I added a new credit card, but it still never gave me the little button to push to choose using my credit card. So I jumped out of the program and went to Pirate Ship to print my label. Thought it was very strange. Yes, I agree 100%. They need to give us the option to use our credit card or debit card or whatever we want to pay for our postage. So very shocked that they withdrew money that I needed. Now, I did check to see if, well, maybe they took a balance out for my invoice, but no, my invoice was current. I make periodic payments and it was paid up to date. So there you go. That's a real problem when eBay doesn't have enough funds in there to pay for your shipping. I'm glad it was just the one sale. What if I'd had 10, 20 sales this morning and I didn't have my funds to pay for any of my shipping? And of course, Pirate Ship was actually more than what my eBay label would have been. So thanks for all you do. I know I need to wrap it up here. Thanks so much. Keep up the great work. Love your podcast, and I really appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.
So I actually had this happen to me this week as well, and I think what it is you have like a return open or a case open or whatever, and they hold the rest of your money, even though all your sales are like, okay, this is a $10 sale with $12 shipping or whatever. You're like, it should be covering it because I just got this money in. I think they're holding it for other things. And I think it has to do with returns and stuff like that. They're like, well, this money's on hold. And you're like, well, now I have a negative balance because the return is $50. And I had a day the day before with no sales.
So his solution is just to have like a backup bank account or credit
well,
card,
so
right?
PayPal was my backup, so I just paid for it out of PayPal, which is actually just linked to my bank account now, so it's like directly out of the bank account. But it is annoying, and so here's the other annoying thing. So I have 10 things I have to ship, and it's like, hey, you don't have enough money in your managed payments. Do you want to switch over to PayPal? And I'm like, yes. I go to the next thing. I have to do it again. I have to do it for every single one.
Yeah.
10 times.
That is strange. Like, why they just don't pull it out of your bank account? You know, like if you don't have...
It's just a wonky system right now.
Yeah, I mean, and just kind of, this is a bit of a segue, but it's the same thing. So this month, you know, eBay just sent out the invoice. I don't know if... I don't know if it's to everybody, but September 16th had been like when we got our invoice.
Right.
And that was the first full month when we were in managed payments.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been really confused because if you go to the managed payments, what do they call it?
It's like the breakdown.
Yeah. Hang on a second, I'm going to go to the
You're like, what's it exactly called?
Oh, my internet's slow. Okay. It's just like our financial summary. And, you know, they have total funds on one side, and then they have our invoice. You know, our invoice was $1,000.
Right. We're like, what?
So I'm just like, what is this money that's being charged outside of managed payments? Because my, again, assumption is that all of our fees and shipping should come out of our managed payments income, and then they just send us the net profit. So I understand that $299 is for our monthly subscription for having an anchor store, which I think is also weird. We'll just take that out of like managed payments. But anyway, they don't. So that's part of it. And then the other $700 this month was for shipping fees. That was specifically FedEx and the eBay Send.
Yeah,
the DHL.
FedEx Smart Post.
They don't take that out of your managed payments.
Now, that was part of July and part of August. So the interesting thing is this is an invoice for August and September, right?
Right. So
my question is, why are they showing stuff from July? You know, part of it's July. So I feel like they're just behind. And like, I don't know why. Yeah. But they'll do that with payments for shipping. Sometimes they'll be like, oops, we forgot to invoice you for a whole month. And you're like,
so
all right.
To me, eBay, I don't mind managed payments. I kind of like it where it's just hooked up to our bank account and it's not through PayPal. I'm on board. Yeah. I'm all about that. But then the system just seems very convoluted because some stuff comes out of our our managed payments, pending funds, and then some stuff is on an invoice that then we get a bill that we have to then pay for through a credit card or PayPal or whatever. And
you get this whopping bill, like $1,000.
I love the beauty and the cleanliness of just everything gets charged out of the money we make on eBay and then send me the net profit.
Now, I will say I'm not using eBay Send, so we're not going to get that on the invoice anymore. And I stopped using SmartPost because of the delays of the post office. Things were getting so delayed on SmartPost, and actually some things went unaccounted for through SmartPost that I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do priority and first class and sometimes parcel.
And those shipping labels come out of our
managed payments.
Our managed payments.
Or PayPal, like we were just talking about. So we should not have an invoice that's that big in the next invoice cycle.
Right. And so for me, it's just like, get rid of the invoice. Just charge my managed payments, even if I have a negative account, and just have a timer on it. So if I don't make enough within 2 weeks or something and I have a negative balance, then just hit my bank account.
Yeah.
Or hit my credit card that I have on file.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. Just make it.
Yeah. So that's just whatever. There you go.
Hello. I have listened to your show since the beginning, and I've called a few times. I have a couple questions for you. First of all, you all are so busy now. I am wondering, is there a stopping point for you with eBay, with everything else you've got going on? I swear you are the busiest people I've ever not met in my life. Do you see yourself continuing? Do you have a stop date for eBay or a number goal, financially, that you would say, okay, this is it. We're done with eBay. Let's sit back and enjoy this life that we've created. So that's one question. I have three. The next one is, and feel free to answer this. What do you have your helper doing for you? And what do you all do at this point, since you have the helper and they do the listing and the photographing? What is your role in the eBay business? I find that I am not very good at listing. I'm really good at sourcing, which is the story of everybody's life. But I luckily sell high dollar items, so I do pretty well. But after I source and I come home and I look at my pile, my brain just falls apart like someone has dropped pickup sticks. So I'm kind of thinking I want to help her. But I want to know what they do for you, and what do you maintain for yourself, and how do you keep them from knowing your numbers? And then my third question is about supplies. I do sell a lot of breakables. I didn't used to. I used to sell clothes, but now I sell a ton of breakables. And I find that my bubble wrap and stuff is very expensive. I dumpster dive a lot of it, but sometimes I don't have it. So do you go through Uline? Do you go through a big company? And do you find a savings by doing that if you do? And that is all my questions. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys, and I look forward to turning you on every Monday as I start my listing. And thank you very much. Bye.
So we're going to do this out of order.
Okay.
So yes, a million questions here. So let's try and break this down because they're all good questions. I mean, these are all questions of like someone that like has been selling on eBay and then is starting to think of their eBay as like a business, and like, how do I get this to be like a consistent, like sustainable business? You know? Okay. So our helper, it might have been 4 years ago, we all started talking about helpers because we were just a community of people kind of doing everything ourselves. And then someone came on and he was like, yeah, I hire people on Craigslist and they're like taking pictures for me. And you know, and everyone has this dream. I want to do the fun stuff. I want to go
Buy stuff.
shop. I just want to go. I'm hunting. It's so fun. And then I come and I dump it all on the ground. And then I hire someone who like goes through it, photographs it, lists it, researches it. And when it sells, they ship it. And then I just go buy more stuff. Like that's the dream.
Yeah.
I don't think that dream is possible.
Yeah.
Like you would have to hire like the most talented person and you'd have to pay them so much money that it wouldn't make it worth it.
It's not worth the money.
What we have figured out is that it's possible to find someone to take photos.
Yes.
So we don't just dump a box of stuff and say, go for it. We actually go through everything, clean it, put it in a row, put some notes on things, and like our current helper takes photos.
Right. That's it. That's all he does is take photos.
And
I mean, he creates the draft and the listing. He takes photos. He doesn't do titles. He does no research.
Right.
That's my job.
Because he's a 16-year-old kid.
Like he doesn't know.
And
he's literally like, what the heck is this thing? I have no idea.
But that's a lot.
That's a lot off my plate.
And then that gets enough so then Ryan can just go and,
Look, this is what I do. So my helper before him would do very good titles and put basically in the right. But she wouldn't do prices.
She was a young woman who was 30 or something, and she was kind of into like antique vintage stuff.
Yeah, she had an Etsy store.
She had a lot more, and we paid her more too. And so she actually did more where she would do photos, titles, item description.
Right.
But we would do the prices.
Yeah, because I'm all
Yeah.
I am not a normal pricer.
Right. And so that's important. And on the answer of like, do they see your numbers? Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, eBay has a thing where you can give people like secondary access or something.
And I did that for a while during the pandemic when she was helping us, and it worked, but it was a little clunky.
But look, it was my huge concern too when we started talking about getting somebody involved. They're going to go, they're going to see everything we're selling, they're going to see how much we sell it for, they're going to see how much we make, and then they're going to be like, I'm going to go start my own business. And what we learned is that just doesn't happen because
it just doesn't happen.
Most people don't want to do this.
Look, both my helpers, not the 16-year-old, but the two young women who were in their 30s, they both got full-time office jobs.
Right. Yep.
Like they knew everything I was doing. They saw all my numbers and they were like, yep, I got a full-time office job with benefits.
Now your question about like shipping supplies and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that I think Ryan was struggling with too. It's like when you're starting, you're scrappy and like
you just throw stuff in a poly mailer.
You want to scavenge everything and you don't want to pay for shipping supplies. And we were going to Walmart at night and getting like carloads of boxes and we're calling the pharmacy to see if they have bubble wrap. And then finally I was like, this is our business.
Just buy it.
Just buy it.
Look, put it in. If you said you sell high-end delicate items, put a handling fee on there.
Right. Or, or just like it's part of your cost. And so we buy big rolls of bubble wrap. We buy these huge, gigantic bags of peanuts.
Now biodegradable.
And,
and I buy rolls of newspaper from the newspaper. I buy the end rolls.
Newsprint. You're right.
Newsprint paper. It's not printed on. They're $2 a roll.
And it's just part of the business, and it's important because, it's no fun when you send something nice to somebody and it breaks. And then you have to refund $100 because we were too cheap to put in,
pay for it. Yeah. It's your cost of doing business.
Okay, final question. This is a long one because there's a lot, but these are good. So, I don't know. The question was kind of like, why are we so busy? Or like, when are we going to stop? Or
we ask ourselves all the time.
What's the point of all this?
What's your stopping point? Is it 70 years old?
And for me, it's kind of like, and I think other people who maybe have gone down the road, you're a little farther down and you have an eBay business. I mean, it's just like you build momentum up.
Right.
Like you've been able to pull away from having to get a job and you're kind of like independent in a way and you're running a business. That takes a lot of work. It's not something we can like turn on and off. Like if we decided to get a job or something, all this stuff would stop and it would be hard to start back up.
I mean, we've built up the infrastructure. We have a warehouse. We have a helper. We have a system with our helper.
And then, and the whole idea of like doing other projects, like, renovating rentals and starting now this coffee business. Part of that too is just like not wanting to have all our eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Like that was also a big topic in this community 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
And a lot of people's answer was, well, that's why I sell on Amazon. That's why I sell on Etsy.
Yep.
But for me, your eggs are still kind of in the same basket.
It's online selling.
Because you're selling online.
Yeah.
For us, we wanted other businesses beyond just selling things we find online.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel good because, again, there's no safety net here. You know?
We have talked about stopping eBay, like, because we do get busy with our other stuff. But that's honestly why I have a helper.
Right.
All these questions kind of tie into each other where you're like, the helper is also really flexible. I mean, there were times with my other helper before she got a job where I would be like, I just don't have anything this week. Like, I need a break. And she was flex. She had, her husband had a full-time job and she did other things. She helped out family members who needed like medical care. And she was like, that's fine. It's cool. Yeah. So, you want a helper that's not just like, this is my only job, and it won't be because you won't have enough hours for that anyway. So, that for me was that was the original answer for not stopping eBay.
Right.
It was like, we're getting too busy with these other projects that we need someone to help us because it's worth it.
Right. But I mean, I think for me, the answer is more like we've created this pipeline that we talk about. We have a system.
Yeah.
And why stop it?
Right, why stop it? And that's always been the answer.
And the helper was just to like do the stuff we didn't want to do. And I mean, why are we? And like, I think the ultimate question that she's asking, or at least the one that I hear in my own head, because we ask this all the time, is like, when do we stop? Like, do we stop working and start enjoying life?
Right. We literally talked about it yesterday.
I think the answer is this:
all the time.
I am enjoying my life. Like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if it's a generational thing. Like, if baby boomers are kind of like,
I'll retire.
You work until you're 67 and then you get to like live on a golf course and, buy a condo on the beach. I don't think like that. Like, I don't really like the beach,
I actually don't like the beach.
I like traveling, I like trips, but I don't see it as like a full-time job. I don't like golf. Like, I like what we're doing.
Yeah.
I like being creative.
Yeah.
Like, we actually got together because we were part of this community, another kind of community where we were like helping build stuff. And I like being part of a community.
Well, it's like creative problem solving. Right. That's like, Jay just got mad at me because I was typing to one of our business partners about like figuring out this like creative problem that we have that I'm like, I need to, like, we got to figure out what we're doing for this part of the coffee shop actually. And Jay was like, stop being distracted by that. We're doing the podcast right now. And but it's like so exciting because I'm like, hold on, we're having this discussion about like faucets, and so like, that's enjoyable, you're like, we get to pick anything we want for how this looks.
So like, part of selling on eBay is like being part of this community, and this is fun for us. So if we were to stop selling on eBay, we would no longer be doing this podcast. We'd no longer be talking to people.
Right, connecting with people.
That's why we enjoy, I think, so far, starting this coffee business is because there's like this coffee community that is fun.
Yeah.
We're like meeting people and learning.
I love it.
And that to me is just, I don't know. That to me is what life is about. And I don't see why that needs to stop. I can see slowing down.
Yeah.
I can see offloading parts of this to other people that we can
like
afford.
Shipping. Like if look, I wake up every morning and I ship. Well, I have 3-day handling, so I've been able to push that aside. But, that would really be like, I'm the general manager and it gets done.
And then finally, because this is becoming very long, I also think like we don't have like cable TV we just watch things on the internet like a lot of people these days. But when we go to like hotels and stuff, we like watch,
HGTV.
Yeah. And so there's a show, I don't know what it's called, but these like this young couple, and they're like in Alabama or something.
It's called Hometown.
Yeah, I guess they're
like most people on this podcast are like, duh.
And
yeah,
I really like them. I guess they're kind of like a country version of those two people in Waco. Those ones that I don't like.
Magnolia.
Yeah. And they just seem really like authentic.
They're cool. They have great style.
I haven't seen them in a while, so maybe they're horrible now. But I like what they're doing. They're like in this little
tiny
rural Alabama town, kind of off the beaten path, and they're like redoing all these old houses for people who live there.
Yeah, for their community.
It's cool.
That's
like,
the best.
That's the kind of cool thing I like people to do.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, and I think about that too. This is something I've been thinking about, is that we're not rich people. I mean, we have now access to resources because we've been doing all this, but we're certainly not rich.
Yeah.
Even on like our county, people would say it's a poor county overall, but there is a good layer of people who have access to resources. Like I know guys that have like, you know, 4 vehicles,
a really nice vehicles,
an excavator, an RV, a motorcycle. Right. You know, they must spend so much money on their like personal property taxes, and you know that's just how they choose to spend their money that they make,
right,
and enjoy their life, and that's fine. We have just chosen to spend our resources on property and design and stuff
renovation,
like that, and to like kind of get involved in trying to make things better in the way we think it would be better. And it's just choices.
That makes me want to plug my Instagram. Lovely Luray Real Estate.
There you go.
And Luray is spelled Luray, for those who asked me last week.
Right. And you've been posting like little photos in our
of like
town.
Stuff that's for sale. Now, I have been posting a lot of foreclosures and a lot of like abandoned houses because they're so cheap. But I started posting some like houses that were already redone. There's this really cute house that I'm like, oh, this one's ready. Yeah. Like someone already did it. So those do exist.
And you know, we're not real estate agents.
I'm not an agent.
I will say we are in this cool little hamlet outside of DC, like 90 miles away. And everything around us, like the other different counties, things are really expensive.
Yeah.
Because they're bedroom communities or people have second
right off
homes.
the highway.
Yeah, I mean, and we're kind of in this valley that people have overlooked for decades. And I think that's going to change. And I think this is like a really kind of, I mean, when you say things are dirt cheap, they're not like $5,000 dirt cheap.
But they're like 40 to 70,000.
Yeah. Which is a really good deal.
But I try to post things that are under 200,000. Right. Like there's a lot that's under 200.
Right. And so that's another exciting thing, kind of going back to the Alabama kids doing in town, is that it's just fun to be a part of something, to think that you could make where you live better. And that's exciting to us too.
Yeah.
And so I don't see like stopping doing that as long as it's fun, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the answer she's looking for, but that's the one I got.
Hey, Jay and Ryan, fellow Scavengers. I just became aware of an eBay program. I don't think you've ever discussed it on the podcast before. If you have, well, I must have missed it. Anyway, it's called the eBay Authenticity Guarantee. And I think it's primarily for watches. And if you Google eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can see their documents on it. But it says for watches sold over $2,000 and possibly other items, they can show up when you sell the item. You'll get a link in your page there that has a link to this eBay Authenticity Guarantee, and you don't send it to the buyer right away. Instead, you send it to an eBay address, and they actually review the item to see if it's authentic or not. And if it is, then they send it to the buyer. If it's not, they refund the buyer and they send the item back to you. And so it's kind of a neat program, I guess. You don't get to choose whether your item is in the program or not. eBay decides, and there's no fee for it, at least not now. I guess eBay finds it significant enough. There's probably enough fake watches out there that it causes them a lot of phone calls or whatever. Anyway, I had not heard of this before, and I was watching a video on YouTube where someone had to deal with it, and so it was kind of intriguing. I thought I'd pass it along. Thanks.
That is cool. I kind of knew that eBay had started an authentication program, but I didn't know, like you said, I didn't know any of the details. I didn't know it was free.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Currently free, but we didn't know about it because we never sell any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've read some articles about it. There's a huge market for designer watches and handbags, and it's just like not a world I know about and interested in or buy. But,
You're like, what?
We don't have access to any of that stuff, but that makes sense because obviously all that stuff is so easy to counterfeit.
Oh, sure.
That eBay needs to have some kind of authentication program.
I don't know if it's easy, but it's just frequently counterfeit.
There's that company, The Real.
Yeah.
One of these capital investor, what's it called?
Venture capital.
Startup, where it's all about just selling authenticated used
bags,
Gucci
or shoes. Yeah,
shoes,
high end.
Yeezys. What are those shoes that?
What's his name? Yeah,
Yeezy. Yeah.
God, how old are we?
Yeezys.
You're like.
That'd be a cool name. Anyway,
Yee.
Yeah. So, the market must be big enough where eBay thinks it's worth it.
So someone posted something on the forum about that, right? Like this week, where they were like, the eBay, used watch market was huge during the pandemic. It like exploded, which is so weird. I'm like, what? People were buying luxury watches during the pandemic?
The cynical part of me fears it's because people were getting government money, in kind of an underhanded way for their business and just blowing it on.
We heard stories like that.
Haven't you read those articles where people faked a business and got $100,000 and spent it on
on cars
and strippers and all that?
Hopefully they got caught.
Yeah,
that's it for the podcast.
Okay, that is it. I'm not going to do the whole spiel anymore, but we are at scavengerlife.com.
I will do this spiel though.
Okay.
Broadporch.coffee.
Yep.
It is being roasted in our building with me helping, me tasting it, making sure it's quality for you.
And Phil, who is the roast master.
Yes.
He demands that coffee be no more than a week old.
He demands freshness. So, he is not roasting and holding it for a month.
Yep.
He will not.
It's true.
And we're like, why don't you just...
So right now, you guys are still kind of getting a final coffee choices. What right now is your favorite coffee?
Me?
Yeah.
Costa Rican now.
Costa Rican.
It's delicious.
Tell me the tasting notes.
Okay, tasting notes are caramel, a light green apple, malic acid, very good, and a bit of chocolate.
Right. And when, I used to hear those, I'd be like, what? Does it taste like chocolate? So explain to people how you come across those tasting notes real quick.
So real quick, there are
30 seconds.
There are very complex acids and sugars in a coffee bean that you can roast a certain way to bring out those flavors.
Right.
It's like wine.
Right. It's
like beer. You're bringing out certain flavors that exist within the coffee bean if you're roasting it the way you want. So our Costa Rican is tasting pretty darn good.
And if you haven't ever dealt with specialty coffee, the kind of coffee you normally get at even Starbucks, but Folgers, they just get kind of a bunch of coffee, mix it all together.
And it tastes like coffee.
And they bake it. They dark roast it. So they just roast everything out where, it gives you that quote unquote coffee taste.
Yeah.
And so there's a different way to
look. Our coffee tastes like coffee.
Yeah.
But it has more complex flavors. Yeah. So that's specialty coffee.
It's delicious.
It's good. I like it.
Anyway, Don't subscribe. Don't do anything. If you found this, this is like a little secret. Like
Secret village.
Don't tell anybody.
Below the castle of eBay.
This podcast is ending. In
3, 2, 1, bite.